Miro was a guest on the Inside the Ropes podcast, and he was asked for his thoughts on the reaction that some fans had to his Dynamite debut, going on TV and doing the best man gimmick with Kip Sabian. And a lot of fans thought that he should be doing something a bit more high profile. This was his response. As it relates to those, well, I say fans, apparently that's not how he views them. This is what Miro had to say. I don't care what you think about my gimmick. I don't care about any of these things because, quite honestly, I don't care. Okay, well, he's made that very clear. I am the best man. You've got to understand that I have been pushed down for way too long, that all of a sudden, for me to start listening to fans, or to not even fans, because these are not fans, these are just critics. Because fans just enjoy what you give to them. Critics are completely different. So let me stop there. I guess after being in WWE and being in that WWE bubble for so long, I mean, Miro was there for a long time. If you count his time in NXT, right, developmental, he probably spent the better part of 5 or 6 years working for WWE. And I guess after being there for so long, it is kind of understandable that the man would still be brainwashed. That last sentence is WWE. I mean, it encapsulates WWE and the attitude there perfectly. Fans should just enjoy what you give to them. Well, Miro, as somebody who has been a fan for almost as long as the number of years that you have been alive on this earth, who happens to also have a podcast where, yes, I do offer opinions and critiques. You are full of shit. And I take offense to the notion that because we're all fans, that we should just like and accept what is given to us. You are full of shit. Now, in the next breath, he makes a statement that actually I think has a lot of validity. He says, I think what we have done, and it's not just the fault of wrestling, but just as a society, we want the quick turnaround right away. Right then and there. We don't like waiting for episodes to come week to week. We don't want to wait the 30 minutes. But if I had come to AEW and become champion on day one, there was going to be 90 other million people who were going to be like, oh, well, look at this. He's just another former WWE guy coming in and taking the title. And look, we have Hangman Page and the Bucks, and everybody else is just waiting for their opportunity. That is true. Although I don't personally know anybody who is saying that Miro should come in on day one and win the AEW title. But we'll set that aside for a second. But it is true, the viewer's attention span has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller over the years. And that's not just a wrestling thing. Although it does affect wrestling a lot. And you would have had some fans who would have complained about another ex-WWE guy coming in and leapfrogging all of the AEW originals for a top spot. But if somebody has an opinion that Miro doing what he's doing right now is not maximizing the potential that he has, I think that's a perfectly valid opinion to have. Maybe 6 months from now, the best man is going to be doing something else. Maybe he'll be challenging for a title. Maybe he'll be working with Jungle Boy or Darby Allin or Cody or somebody higher up in the pecking order. But whenever I hear that a wrestler make a comment like that you're not a real fan if you criticize. A real fan would basically just keep their mouth shut and just take what's given to them and like it. Smile and say thank you. May I have another? All that does is reinforce the idea that for as much as people want to call the fans marks, and a lot of wrestlers do, there are wrestlers who see it as a derogatory term, who do actually like the fans, who will not insult the fans by using it. But yes, plenty of people inside the wrestling business, they call the fans marks. They have done it for decades. All the people who want to call the wrestling fans marks, the biggest marks of all, are the wrestlers themselves. And this is just another example of that. According to PW Insider, Abadon is doing okay after receiving a hard strike to the throat in the match that was being taped for Dynamite this past week, which did not air, between her and Tay Conti. Because the match had to be stopped, and Abadon was taken to the hospital. They just junked the whole match. They say she's okay. We don't have any kind of official update. I mean, I know she's tweeting, so she's obviously... she's not unconscious or something horrible like that. She's obviously doing okay. Don't know when she'll be back in the ring, though. I mean, she wasn't really appearing on Dynamite anyway, and now there's no telling when we may see her again on TV. So instead, we got Serena Deeb against Layla Hirsch. The Dynamite debut of legit Layla Hirsch in a match for the NWA Women's Championship that Serena had just won from Thunder Rosa 24 hours earlier on the Primetime Live, UWN Primetime Live pay-per-view. A lot of NWA stars have been wrestling of late on those UWN shows since the NWA is still not running shows of their own. They have essentially partnered up with the NWA. Dave Marquez, who did the ring announcing and some interviews for the NWA, is the man behind the UWN operation, so that makes sense. I thought Layla Hirsch looked very impressive in her match, in defeat against Serena Deeb. She comes from an amateur wrestling background, and she toured Stardom earlier this year. She was a member of the Tokyo Cyber Squad. With Thunder Rosa losing her NWA Women's title, that has led to a lot of speculation about her future. Dave Meltzer says that she has a lot of interest from WWE, a lot of interest from AEW, but Billy Corgan put a statement out on his Instagram account batting down any reports of her signing with another promotion, making it very clear that Rosa is not going anywhere. He has her under contract. The NWA has her under contract through 2021. I don't know if that means through the entire year or the summer. I mean, he didn't say. He just said through 2021, Thunder Rosa is under contract. It doesn't look like he's interested in letting her out of that contract, like they were so willing to do with James Storm when he got interest from WWE. So that's the update on Thunder Rosa. That at least we have clarification from Corgan himself that she ain't going nowhere. What I hope that means is that soon the NWA is going to start running shows of their own, because if she's locked in a contract for another year and they're not going to run any shows, I mean, I would hope that means at least we'll be seeing more of Rosa on AEW television. I mean, her stock has never been higher than it is right now. She needs to be on TV. Now, it does sound like she's going to be doing more MMA fights, so maybe they planned that title change knowing that she might have to step away to do some training for some upcoming fights. I think she's got 2 fights, I believe, left on her deal with the Combates Americas promotion. Let me just say this about WWE having a possible interest in her, because I think it stemmed from something Meltzer flat out said, and now he may be backtracking a little bit, but that's really where these reports came from. You know, that it looks like WWE maybe signed her or she's going to sign with them. But let me, and that does not look like that is actually going to happen. But let me just address that. It is not that I don't think that NXT, she wouldn't have some great ladies to work with in NXT. I do. NXT's women's division right now, as I said before, is as good and as robust as the women's division anywhere else in this country right now. So she would have a lot of names to work with if she went to NXT. Thunder Rosa against Io Shirai, Ember Moon, Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Toni Storm. I mean, I would love to see those matches. But anyone going to the main roster, if Vince McMahon does not believe in them, it is always a huge question mark. And that is what scares me. So when I make those comments about, oh my God, I hope she doesn't go here, or oh my God, if she goes here, that's the end. We've seen enough examples of this to, I think, be scared. I mean, if you are a fan of somebody and you want to see them succeed and do well, and they got over being a certain personality here, but then they come here and then they make them change, or they're not getting any time on TV, or they're being downplayed. I mean, I've seen this countless times before. These guys or these women, they have a lot of interest, they have a lot of buzz around them, and then it's just, dead in its tracks. And I don't want to see that happen to Thunder Rosa. She's a good talent.